Frightmare, one of our favorites, one that we go to every year at Haunted Trails Amusement Park in Burbank. This year's theme was called Twisted Tales. What'd you think this time, Laura?
Well, it was okay. Frightmare used to be one of my top haunts. It used to be one of my favorites because they had the movie monster theme. And they pulled it off. I mean, it was so good. Now, last year, when I went in there, I just learned that the movie monster theme was gone. So, of course, I didn't really enjoy it. I was pretty upset. This year, I was going to boycott. I didn't want to go in at all because I'd be too heartbroken going back in there and not seeing the movie monster theme. But I kind of got, coerced into going. So, anyway, I went in. I tried to go in there with an open mind and just, okay, I'm going to take it for what it is. Movie monsters are gone, so I got to see what it is on its own. And there were a couple parts that I did like. There was a scene where you walk by and there's a window and there's some kind of creature in the window, and then there was a animatronic wolf in another scene. And the actors were good. I mean, they did their parts. Not a problem there. Of course, when I'm walking through, I'm thinking, okay, this was this scene, and this was that scene, though this was Camp Crystal Lake, and that's all I could think about when I was in there. But on its own, it was good. It's more of a funhouse feel. It's not what you call an intense haunt. It's all like drawings on the wall with some, with the actors and props. But it was okay. I mean, it was, like I said, it's a funhouse. And the people in front of us were scared. They were kids, and that made it more enjoyable for me. So this year, even though I'm still disappointed that they didn't go back to the movie monster theme, I'm gonna give it 2.5 chainsaws this year. It's worth seeing if you're in the area and you just want to do something like a fun house feel. So 2.5.
Frightmare is not a haunted house. Even though they call it a haunted house, it is a fun house. And in fact, it's so much of a fun house that it's in one of those old 70s style carnival trailers that you'd see set up at a state fair. Okay, it's got the old generic backdrop, and it's the kind of thing you'd buy a few tickets for when you go to the county fair or a state fair or whatever and you go in there. But that's part of the charm of Frightmare. It's been around for many, many years, and it's never changed. It's always the same old trailer with something on the back. It's got a couple levels that you walk through, upstairs and downstairs and things. You always follow the same pattern. This year they changed it up. It was called Twisted Tales. It was twists on various nightmares and things like that. So they had several cool scenes. There was a creepy scene with a guy appearing in a mirror. A woman's talking in some strange language, and this guy appears in a mirror behind the mirror. Another scene with a wolf. It was sort of supposed to be like Red Riding Hood or something like that. And the wolf came out at you. The wolf was in sheep's clothing or grandma's clothing on a bed, and the wolf came out at you. That was clever. A couple other scenes. There was a house of cards with all the playing card people, sort of like a medieval castle, with the Queen of Hearts, and she came up and asked me for my heart. She wanted my heart, and things like that. So I like that kind of thing. But I will agree that it did seem a bit empty. It seemed like some of the scenes, like, you could tell they used to be something else. You didn't really know what to do with those scenes. And I will also mention that there were a couple times where the actors were standing around with no masks on and just kind of standing there.
Oh, geez, I didn't even notice that.
There was one actor that talked to us specifically. He didn't have his mask on at all, and he was talking to us. And then there was another scene where there was an actor who was supposed to be covered in moss, and she had her mask off. So there was no surprise there. So I do have to say I was a little disappointed myself this year. I think I probably will give it a 2.5 myself this time around.
I do have to mention there were a couple, they had music in scenes and different sound effects that I noticed in some of the scenes that were okay, but yeah, it's still, I missed the other theme, the theme from 2 years ago.
2.5.
Okay.